The magical wingbeat that stopped the sorrow. In the heart of a deep forest where emerald green trees whispered secrets, lived a baby rockbird named Chi-Chi, who possessed a voice sweeter than anyone else's. Every single morning, Chi-Chi was a happy little bird, singing to the golden sunlight that gently rested on his head and dancing gracefully alongside the blooming flowers. But then one day, a vast sorrow found its way to Chi-Chi. His most cherished friend, a little kitten, had set off on a journey to a far-off land, never to return again. From that day forward, a pitch-black darkness settled over Chi-Chi's nest. Crouched alone in the deepest corner of his home, he did nothing but brood over sorrowful thoughts all day long. Why should I sing when my friend is no longer here? I will never, ever be happy again. Strangely enough, those sorrowful thoughts acted just like a nasty virus. The longer he lay there doing nothing, the deeper and wider they spread into his soft feathers. Every night, Chi-Chi's chest felt heavily crushed as if a massive boulder were pressing down on it, aching so intensely that he could barely breathe. He racked his brain to chase the sadness away with his thoughts, but the terrifying shadow of sorrow only wrapped itself tighter around his tiny neck. Right then, Grandfather Bori, a horned owl who was the oldest and wisest creature in the forest, came flapping into Chi-Chi's nest with his grand wings. Looking at Chi-Chi drenched in tears, the grandfather gently nudged his feathers and spoke in an intentionally stern yet loving voice. Chi-Chi, you can never conquer that dark shadow by simply sitting still and thinking. The minds of us little birds are surprisingly simple. We can never focus on two massive thoughts at the exact same time. With a rustle, Grandfather Owl spilled a whole bunch of large acorn shells and shiny marbles right in front of Chi-Chi. If you want to halt the sorrow that overflows in your chest, play your favorite acorn xylophone as hard as you can. And if you don't even have the strength for that, then soar toward the high heavens until the breath catches right beneath your beak. You must move, using every ounce of strength your body has. Chi-Chi did not want to stir his wings at all, but following Grandfather Owl's rhythmic lead, he reluctantly began to flap them. At first, even as he beat his wings, sorrowful memories kept popping up one after another, making his tears flow. However, to push through the biting night winds and ascend into the high sky, he had to focus every bit of his awareness onto the very tips of his wings. It was a perilous flight where a single moment of losing balance could send him crashing into sharp, thorny branches. Flap, 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 flap. For hours, Chi-Chi churned his wings against the steep sky without a single moment of rest. His tender wing muscles began to tingle and ache, and his breath caught so heavily at the back of his throat that it felt as though his little tongue would pop right out. At that exact moment, a truly magical miracle occurred. As his physical body reached extreme exhaustion, the heavy overload in his mind snapped right off, and the terrible spell of sorrow that had plagued him so intensely vanished into thin air. Because his body was working so hard, his brain had absolutely no time left to dwell on sad thoughts. Only a mirror-clear focus of "I must fly higher" filled his tiny heart. When he had been lying helplessly in his nest, it felt as though a dark monster called depression was strangling him. But the moment he moved with all his might, the monster gasped in surprise and fled far away. Aha! We animals hold a special secret. We are bound to become miserable if we do not keep moving busy. Perching safely on a tree branch, Chi-Chi caught his ragged breath and folded his wings. His entire body was thoroughly exhausted, making it hard to lift even a single feather, but miraculously, the weight of sorrow crushing his heart had become as light as a downy feather. Making the body beautifully tired through hard exercise was the one and only magical medicine that washed away sorrow while building strong wings, killing two birds with one stone. If Chi-Chi had tucked his wings away and killed time blankly just because he was sad, he might have become a sorrowful bird who could never fly the skies again. With a joyful leap, Chi-Chi soared mightily once more into the cleanly cleared sky. In the midst of the refreshing breeze brushing past his cheeks, Chi-Chi's heart was thumping healthier and stronger than ever before. The moment he stopped thinking and moved his body, the virus of sorrow, along with his beads of sweat, had already flown beautifully away to the farthest corners of the forest.